How do I look, Lee? All right, cool. All right, so we usually have like an opening question on this podcast, and just answer the best you can.
Okay.
It's not too serious, but the question is, pause. Say what?
What?
Exactly. Welcome to another episode of Pilots Say What. This is the 18th episode, and this is the show where we hear what pilots have to say. So thank you, Carson, for joining us. You gave me the answer I wanted, to be honest with you. My name is Zachary. I'm your host. I'm here every week. If this is your first week, well, then welcome. We're going to talk about a lot about like what makes a good instructor and how a student can utilize instructors the most. But before we get into any of that kind of stuff, and of course, we're gonna go with the flow. But before we get into any of that, I'd like to have you maybe introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Hi, my name's Carson Katzler. So I just got my private pilot's license about a month ago, and I'm an instrument right now. So yeah, just
Yeah.
started in a stage 2 instrument. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. And how was your instrument training? I know that some people find that one pretty tricky because
It's definitely harder than private.
yeah,
It's a whole nother beast.
yeah,
It's kicking my butt.
yeah, man. I mean, I hear it's weird. I can only imagine driving a car without seeing anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't relate to flying, so that's the closest I get
Yeah.
is driving a car.
Yeah, no, it's
I
it's
think
definitely different.
Yeah, it's nice to know that you're training for the instrument. I wish you the best of luck. I can only
Yeah.
imagine what that's like. Do you know how much longer you have? Like, what do you have an expectation to get your check ride?
Oh, till instrument?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping within like the next 2 months. Like, yeah, I just got to get the written done.
Yeah. Oh man, the writtens.
Yeah.
Do you imagine getting ahead on the writtens like after this one?
Yeah, I mean, I want to, but it's just like it's hard with like flying,
Yep.
studying for everything else, and then studying for the written on top of it. It's kind of hard to like all that workload.
And they say every time you get to a new rating that you're working on, they kind of like just like fire a bunch of stuff at you,
Yeah,
and it's kind of
yeah.
like getting drowned by a water hose or something. But after you
Yeah.
get through the written each time, it's like okay, practice, practice,
Yeah,
practice.
after you get through the written, it's like so much easier. It's like sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, that's awesome, right? Just like flying, right?
Yeah.
Getting better at flying is
Yeah,
practicing.
flying and then just studying for each stage, but that's pretty easy.
Do you have maybe an expectation on what you want to do? I know it's a little early in the program,
Yeah.
but do you kind of have like a plan on how you want to utilize your pilot licenses?
Yeah, well, after I go through all the programs, obviously like hire as a CFI anywhere. I mean, like
Right.
preferably thrust, but
Yeah.
yeah, anywhere would be cool.
Yeah.
And then after that, once I get my 1,500 hours, I'd like to go to the airlines.
Hmm.
Preferably United.
That's what I was
United,
gonna
if you're
say.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, United, let us
I mean,
know.
whoever hires me, I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, they all like are the same basically.
Does
Just
United have a base in Dallas, or where are they based out of?
They don't have a base in Dallas. Not too sure which Texas base they have. I just
Mhm.
know they have a lot of Florida bases, and then they
Mm.
also have one in Tokyo and Guam. So
Oh,
I feel like
okay.
that would be pretty cool to be based in Tokyo. So
Yeah, that'd be
I don't know.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's what I was wondering if that kind of stuff plays into your decision at all.
yeah,
Like you're saying it might be cool to be in Tokyo. Have you ever been
yeah.
anywhere like that?
No, never been out of the country other than like the Bahamas and Mexico. So
Yeah.
yeah,
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 man, that sounds kind of scary, man. I mean, does
yeah.
that scare you, or do you feel like, you know what, I'm just gonna get out of my comfort zone
I love
if you could?
traveling, so like
Yeah,
it doesn't like scare me,
yeah,
it's like exciting.
yeah.
So yeah, it'd be cool to like go to Tokyo Square or whatever it's called. I'm not too sure what the
Yeah,
name
right.
is, but yeah.
Hey man, all power to you. If you go to Tokyo, let us know if you need to be on another episode. We'll bring the show to you instead. Uh, well, I wanted to kind of ask you about do you have a primary instructor, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. But you kind of talk to more than just your primary instructors, like whoever's
Yeah.
available when you need them.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you find yourself talking to your primary instructor the most?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I mean, do you feel like they kind of stay on top of where your training is?
Yeah, she does.
She
Yeah.
does?
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I ask is I want to kind of know, in your opinion, what are some things that um, you think make a quality instructor? And I know you're not an instructor, but maybe things that you've noticed about the instructors you like to go to.
Like
Like,
what would be the perfect instructor?
right, like you're like, oh, I like to go to this person because they listen well, or I like to go to that person because they really know their stuff, or this person's personable, anything like
Yeah,
that.
for sure. I
Hmm.
feel like anyone that can give me like constructive criticism,
Hmm.
I need that for sure.
Hmm.
I can't just like sit in the plane and they say like, "Oh, you did that wrong." Like, I just gotta like feel like what's doing like what I did wrong. Like that's
Mm.
helpful.
Yeah, like, what's the difference? Do you mean like them being more specific?
Yeah, so like say like I'm like doing a maneuver or something, which you don't do in instrument, but you do it in private.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mess up and they're like, you did that wrong. It doesn't
Yeah.
really help me. And
Right.
like so it'd be nice if they like showed me what I did wrong and then I'm able to like correct from there.
Mm.
So that's like ideal, like
Yeah.
for me, yeah.
Elaborating is a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Constructive criticism is a hard one too. Do
Yeah.
you ever find yourself feeling like I didn't do that wrong? They weren't really paying attention, or I don't feel like. Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, but at the same time, they're the one with like way more hours than me, so
Right.
it's just like me being stubborn. So yeah.
No, that's good. That's good to recognize then. Well then what are some ways that you feel like your primary or any instructor really have you noticed some ways that they've been able to like adapt to you?
Yeah, I feel like my instructor now, she was a little bit shy at first,
Yeah.
and now she's like kind of like more bubbly. So
Yeah.
it's like I feel like she like like attached to my personality, so she's like kind of like, changing to like be more talkative and stuff because otherwise it would be a boring cockpit
Yeah, I
because I
hear you.
talk way too much.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I'm a
Yeah.
yapper, man.
Yeah, I'm a yapper.
Okay, well then what are some ways that you've had to adapt if you don't mind me asking to both
Yeah.
your primary and then even any other way if there's more than one?
Just like adapting in general.
Yeah, like well, especially to your instructor because I know that sometimes you can recognize differences in your instructors
Yeah.
and sometimes it's like this person's really good at giving criticism or this person likes to teach a certain way. Like are there ways as a student that you need to be able to like adjust or open up to be a better student with any instructor?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like not studying, it looks bad on them too, because if they send you to like a stage check and like
Mm,
you fail it, then it looks bad on them. Like, why did you send your student to a stage check? So you also have accountability on your end to like, like show up for them. Because if
mm,
you don't show up for them and they're showing up for you, it just doesn't make sense.
it's kind of like a teamwork thing in that way.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
yeah.
Um, what keeps someone from studying? Is it
I don't
because it's
know.
just boring sometimes, or what is
I feel
it?
like some people just kind of like push it off. Like
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh yeah, I just do this without like studying, just like
yeah.
look a little bit." But like you actually have to study, like keep the information in your brain, like retain it like a sponge, because otherwise you're not gonna do too good.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine because when I was in high school,
Oh
like
my
I really
God.
I was never a studier. Like
Yeah,
I just all I ever did was cram at most, and
yeah,
I just recalled what I could. I remember some classes maybe had like a better like a study guide or something, and it really helped me retain the knowledge. But I
yeah.
just wasn't someone who studied very well. I think I did once, and it really helped, but
hmm Yeah, no,
I don't know why.
I can't study to save my life in high school. Never did.
Yeah,
So that's definitely something I'm like, adjusting to now
yeah.
because it's a lot different.
There's a lot of practical stuff in this
Yeah,
situation, so I'm wondering
yeah.
if that makes a difference. Do you feel like that makes a difference?
Oh yeah, some of it's like kind of common sense. It's easier to like build off of that.
Hmm.
So it's not like just like straight like book smarts, but at the same time it's a little bit of like book smarts too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
especially when you're studying for your writtens, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
knowledge to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like memorization. It's just like 1400 questions.
Yeah.
Remember that. So it's like a
Yeah.
lot, yeah.
Something I'm not familiar with for sure. I feel like I'm jumping around a little bit, but I kind of want to go back to the fact that you have your primary instructor.
hmm
When you're in ground courses, what kind of role do they play for you when you're in ground courses? Because I know when after you kind of finish up some of your ground
hmm
and your writtens, that you're really hands on with your primary instructor. Are
Yeah.
they like, what's their involvement like beforehand?
So like you're obviously flying and doing your ground at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like your ground class,
Mm-hmm.
completely different teacher. It's just like one main instructor.
Mm-hmm.
But my instructor, she was like, just take any notes you have, like off the lessons, because obviously, like I'm not gonna ask every single question off the lesson. And she was like, just ask me like questions off of each lesson, and I can like explain that to you. So
Oh,
she was
that's good.
helpful in that.
That's a good way to think about it, and think about that you get to take that knowledge to somebody afterwards. Because in
Yeah.
school, that's another thing. You don't get that.
Mm.
You don't get one-on-one time. I mean,
Yeah.
not that you can't maybe, but it's just not that easy or common. I mean, you teach. There's so many
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
Um, Here, that's another thing. Do you feel like it's hard to get a hold of your instructor?
Not really. I mean, I could like text her
Uh,
whenever and she'll just respond like whenever she can. So it's not like too crazy.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering. Because it seems like there's like a lot of students these days, but it also seems like there's a lot of black shirts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, they're hiring a lot of CFIs.
yeah, we have a lot of CFIs in here.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good to know. Then I have a few more questions for you. So it's funny because I went up on my first flight during the eclipse.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, but it was in the high wing. It was in the one of the Cessnas
Oh,
at
so
the
you couldn't
time.
see it?
Yeah, I don't even know if we have any more Cessnas over here at all, but nonetheless, I didn't get to see it, and I was really excited. And I feel like I got down on the ground, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so cool!" Like, and I was like, "Man." But anyways, that's besides the point. One of the first times I went up, and I realized it seems like we emphasize, and it's probably very common in aviation, right? But there's a lot of talk about safety in general.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a few ways that your instructor or instructors emphasize safety during flight
Yeah.
training?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely checklists. Like, checklist, big thing.
Yeah,
Number one.
just
Yeah.
checklist.
I mean, like, just like the checklist, like, the, like,
Yeah.
you know, cruising checklist,
Mhm.
descent to landing, because, like, sometimes if you don't, like, switch one of the things, like, or, like, one of the things, you could be screwed.
Well,
Yeah.
is there any other specific examples of like something that like let's just say you would forget to do something on one of those checklists, what would happen?
So your instructor would just be like, "Did you forget anything on the checklist?" And you'll read it again and be like, "Oh, dang, I forgot to hit the fuel tank."
Gotcha. So the point is there's like a lot of things to remember and it's just better not to have to remember them and you'd rather
Yeah.
go through a checklist.
Yeah, and spatial awareness is a big thing too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for
so
safety.
yeah,
What
definitely.
what does that look like? In what scenario do you have to have spatial awareness?
I mean everything. Well, when you're behind the foggles and instrument, like
Mhm.
the goggles that like look like clouds, basically,
Yeah,
you can't really see outside. So your instructor's also looking outside the whole time,
yeah.
making sure you're not gonna like crash into anyone. But like you're also like checking like the screen to make sure that there's no other planes around you, and then
Mm-hmm.
also like scanning outside whenever,
Oh,
just to
okay.
like make sure. And then also birds. I've hit a bird before.
How do can you avoid a bird
Yeah, you definitely can. But we couldn't. We
in
were
that
just
situation?
yeah, we were descending down to land, and
Oh.
it was just it popped up out of nowhere, big crow, and just smacked the side of the wing.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Man, that would be kind of scary because I bet it was loud.
yeah. No, it was a huge thud. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know how if I feel bad for the bird or what, but
That thing is gone. It's
uh,
no longer with us.
man,
Yeah,
poor bird. It's funny because they were flying first. They were there first.
yeah,
But okay, well, yeah, I just like to check in on some of the safety stuff because I like to see the ways that we emphasize it.
yeah.
Um, how do you keep track of your checklist?
Oh, like the
Yeah, do
actual
you do like
checklist?
is it like an actual checklist? Is there like a piece of paper or what do you
Oh
do?
yeah, so we have like just like a normal like laminated checklist, and you
Mhm.
kind of just like go down it with your finger. But they just
Mm,
they switched to a online checklist, so
mhm,
it's like portable. I can like, keep it on my phone, so
mhm.
it's a little easier than having like the laminated piece of paper where I could just be on my iPad or on my phone. So
Yeah, and it's there with you. I've
yeah,
noticed most pilots, of course, have an iPad,
yeah,
and maybe not all. It's not a requirement, right? Um, that reminds me. Then that's something you have in your pilot bag. You go up every time, right?
yeah, yeah.
Do you have anything in your pilot bag that like what do you have in your bag? Or is there anything unique in there that you think not a lot of people have?
Um, Nothing crazy. I
Yeah,
mean, I just have like just like the basics: headset, foggles,
yeah,
charger, my medical in there because I don't want to forget it, and
yeah,
then like my logbook.
yeah.
Yeah,
Some
iPad too.
basic stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. You don't have like cologne or anything like that,
No,
do
not
you?
like that. No,
Oh,
I just
okay.
have like a little mini flight bag. Yeah.
I feel like I would always have to have cologne on me. I'm not gonna lie, not cologne, like deodorant at least, because
Yeah.
I'm a sweater.
Yeah, no, I just leave that in my car.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I had one in my car, but it
It
melted.
melted,
Yeah,
yeah.
you see what I'm
Yeah,
saying
it
from
got on my
Texas.
glove box.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
also why I don't have one in my bag anymore though, because I'm actually more worried it's gonna melt my bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gross. That's
Yeah.
happened to me too. I just have one like in the office, one at home, and like anywhere I go like regularly, I just have an extra.
Yeah.
I actually don't have one in the office. I lied, to be honest. They can probably smell me all the time. Okay, well, let me ask you a little bit about you have a solo flight coming up? Or did you already do
No.
that?
Yeah, I already did them in private.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. That's what I was wondering. How was that? Like, because that's your first time flying by yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So we did like a pattern solo first. That's where you like fly to McKinney.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually not McKinney, Mesquite. I did mine at Mesquite.
Okay.
And you just do 3 laps in the pattern with your instructor. and then they get out. Well, they don't get out, but like we taxi to the FBO.
Mhm.
They get out and they say like good luck, and then like you like call up the tower, like Mesquite Tower,
Yeah.
Thrust 555, student solo,
Mhm.
and then they like direct you and they like kind of like baby you because
Because
like
you said student
yeah,
solo kind
yeah,
of thing.
you're like brand new to
Yeah.
it. Like you have no instructor in the plane, and so
Yeah.
you just do 3 laps in the pattern, touch and goes. So like just landing, take off, landing, take off, landing, take off, and then you
Make
just
sure you
come
can
back.
do it consistently.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and then you just pick up your instructor like
Yeah.
an Uber. Yeah,
That's like an Uber. That's crazy. They Ubered you there.
yeah.
Was that like something? Were you nervous about that?
Um, I was nervous, but I was like hyping myself up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, because I was like, otherwise, I don't got this. So
Yeah.
I was like, I got
A
this.
lot of it's a mental thing. It sounds like you want to be like mentally prepared. You want to feel confident. You want to feel good about it.
Yeah.
Was there anything specific you might have done to, especially? I mean, maybe someone's coming up on their solo soon who may listen to this or something.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Are there any things that you did that you may recommend to someone who has a solo coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I would just feel comfortable in the plane you were in. Like, if
Yeah.
you don't feel comfortable, like, don't solo.
Yeah.
But like, just like proficiency, just like make sure you have enough practice and you feel
Mhm.
comfortable to where you could land it if there was no one inside the plane because there is no handoff of the controls.
Right.
Yeah, not
There's one
really.
person on the yoke, right?
Yeah,
That's crazy. Well, that sounds exciting. I remember when I first started working here, one of the people I was talking to and I like was filming, I was asking them questions, and she was like, "Yeah, with my first, I don't know what she said. She might have said within my first 2 weeks, I like flew a plane and landed a plane." And I'm just like, "What?"
yeah, yeah. No, it happens pretty quick. The second you get your written done, it's just like fly, 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 fly.
Dude, a lot of people. So, well, we're gonna double back then, because I had the question about like, what it's like to like transfer into the thought process of flying a plane without ever having had thought about it before.
Yeah.
But first, I would want to ask then, um, when you were younger, did you want to fly planes? I mean, did you ever think about this kind of stuff?
I mean, like, I always thought it was cool, but
Hmm.
I honestly like didn't like think of it as like or like a passion,
Right.
But then like I did my discovery flight and I was like, dang, this is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like it's like a whole nother like experience, like
Right.
you're kind of like in your own like space. It's
Yeah.
like it's almost like therapeutic.
Yeah. No, and I can see that. There's like I don't know, what is it? A lot of autonomy, if that makes sense. Like it's like almost a different sense of control.
Yeah,
To be able to say, hey, like I'm in the air and I'm in control of that.
yeah,
And it's almost like the high pressure risk kind of thing feels good because it's like I don't know, you have to tap in, I guess.
yeah.
Something
It's
about that.
surreal. It's just
Yeah.
like you get like a different level of adrenaline. It's just
Yeah.
like it's cool.
It
Yeah,
is cool. It's cool. It is cool. I mean, it's better than I don't know. I guess it just really puts a lot of things into perspective. When I went up there, I wasn't the one flying, but
yeah.
I'm just like, wow, I'm really in the sky in like a really small vehicle right now. Is how I'm
Mhm.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't touch that like experience. They just
Yeah.
stay on the ground, and it's just
Yeah.
weird. It's just weird, a different zone to be in.
Yeah.
Well, then what made you decide to take a discovery flight in the first place?
So I originally went to college, went
Mhm.
like for like 3 weeks. It
Yeah.
wasn't really for me.
Oh
I didn't
no.
like it. It was boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't for me. I
Yeah.
felt like it was a waste of money and my time, honestly.
Mm,
And then came back and started working and then heard about Thrust.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I just like took a discovery flight after I took my tour and thought it was really cool.
Like it wasn't after the discovery flight. It was pretty clear. Like, oh yeah, this is way better than
Yeah,
college.
the second I got like up in the air and started flying myself, and I was like, yeah,
Because they let you kind of maneuver the yoke a little bit, right? Like,
yeah,
of course they're there to handle it, but
yeah. He kind of like he let me like he took off, he did the rotation, and then he was like just hold the yoke and
you can
like
feel it.
climb at 76. Well, he let me do the whole thing,
Yeah,
and then he let me fly over my house too, so that was pretty cool. So
smart.
yeah,
I'd be in there too.
yeah.
Do you mind if I ask? How old are you?
Oh, I'm 19.
19. Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. So I mean, I was like 19, and I was starting community college, and I didn't stick around for that either. I was kind of doing my own passions as
yeah,
well, and that's how I got into my career, right? But I mean, I wish in high school, or even at 19, or even after community college, I would have like
yeah,
kind of maybe been aware of something like this. I'm pretty sure I might have jumped on it too.
yeah.
It seems pretty interesting to me.
You still can.
No, I still
Yeah,
can. I like what I'm doing though. I do.
yeah,
I wouldn't maybe mind getting my private pilot license,
yeah.
There's a lot of time that goes into that, and I
Yeah.
might leave that for the pilots for now.
Yeah.
But that's good to hear. I mean, like, kind of got a good direction. It sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
definitely.
When you say it sounded cool when you were younger, at least, was there like a way that, like, did you ever look into it? Or you're just like, oh, planes are cool.
Well, I just like remember as a little kid, like, they would like let you go up in the cockpit and then like
Okay.
give you like the little wings.
So
And
you
then,
had that
like,
kind of experience,
yeah, I
right?
had that before. So
Okay.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Man, they didn't do me and my brother like that. We went on I think we went on like maybe 2 flights as kids. And one time we had to fly by ourselves. We had to
Mhm.
like meet up with some family members and stuff. It was like a whole thing. But the point is you'd think 2 kids by themselves. I remember like the adults around us were really nice. Like they're
Yeah.
like talking to us to like make us. I don't know. It was cool. But no one took us in the cockpit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I hear that story, I'm like, nah, it's whatever.
Yeah. No, I flew the other weekend, and I saw like 2 little kids in the cockpit,
Yeah.
and I was like, heck yeah.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
right? That's nice. That's a pretty nice gesture though.
Yeah.
I wanted to know more about when you were younger. When you were going to college, did you have like an idea of what you were trying to do in college?
Oh yeah. So I always wanted to be a teacher, like an elementary school
Oh, yeah.
teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend teaches 4th grade.
Oh really?
So
I
I mean that's still elementary. Yeah, I just had to think about that.
Yeah.
But I know people who teach and stuff like that. I mean, is that something that you just felt like you were kind of sticking with because you thought about it as a kid?
Well, I wanted to be a firefighter as like a little kid, and then like as I got older, like middle school, high school, I was like, I like interacting like with kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I like serve at like VBS and stuff, and
Oh, that's
just
nice.
like at church, just like with the kids, and it's just like something I wanted to do.
Yeah, and what is I don't know what BBS is, to be honest with you.
VBS, like Vacation Bible
VBS.
School.
I mean, that's something that's kind of always going to be there probably if you really wanted to do
Yeah.
it. But that's originally why you were going to school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that means that you said you're gonna, of course, plan to get your hours by being a CFI,
Yeah.
and hopefully with the rest. Is that something you kind of look forward to?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like instructing, it would be like, yeah, I've heard that like instructing elevates your level because once you can teach it, you fully understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people will go through the program like, like on like a 75% level of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But once they're fully able to teach it, that's where they're like, like actually 100%.
Well, are you nervous about teaching at all?
I mean, kind of, because once you become a CFI, you're responsible for the student, and like, if anything happens in the plane, it's all you. So it's a big responsibility, but it's a responsibility I want,
What's it like? I'm completely switching lanes.
Okay.
We kind of went through a lot of good stuff. We kind of spent a lot of time already, but I want to say, like, what's it like flying in the summer right now? I mean, I know most of the planes have AC, like they're all supposed to have it, but even with AC, like, what is it? Is there any difficulties?
Yeah. So it's when it's hot, it gets really really bumpy. So yeah. So and especially behind the foggles, it kind of get a little bit motion sick. At least for me.
I would probably. So.
Yeah. I mean, you don't like, you just feel like a little bit like, because it's hot outside. The air conditioning is like going, but you're obviously like in a metal plane with glass, and the sun is just directly on you.
It's beaming, yeah. Man. And there's not, you're like, if you're above the clouds, it's like really, really.
Yeah,
on
there's
you.
nothing to block.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, I don't know. I mean, I think we flew through a lot of stuff kind of fast, but I think it was good stuff. Is there anything you're looking forward to in your flight journey before we wrap it up? I'm curious if there's anything like you're like looking forward to, a little more excited about, anything like that.
Probably learning to fly the multi.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely that.
What is it about that?
I mean, 2 engines. I mean,
the power. Everyone's a little more
Yeah.
power.
Yeah, no, I feel like that would be pretty cool. And then my spin training, I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, when you do spin training,
I think it's for CFI, CFII. I'm not too sure though, but
well, just because spin training, is that like a maneuver, or is it like a free for all kind of like a free fall thing?
So I'm pretty sure you go up in like Patrick's plane or the Cessna, and they put you in a spin, and you have to recover it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that sounds exciting to you. I feel like some people don't think that's exciting.
I mean, some people are probably nervous because like you could get sick, but like it's not too crazy, and flying Patrick's game bird would be pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Hey Patrick, let's get Carson in the game bird. There's a couple. I think we need to start making a list of the people who want to fly the game bird, and just let him check that off as he goes, because I think I want to hear more stories about people who have flown it.
Yeah, student solo game bird Patrick. Let me know.
Let's go. We're gonna look. I'm gonna go ahead and just bump you to the top.
Okay, sweet.
Carson at the top of the list. Yeah, I appreciate you, Carson, for joining us on the 18th episode of Pilots Say What, where we hear what pilots have to say. That's always a mouthful, but I'm glad that y'all have joined in with us. If you've been here previous weeks and you're still watching all the way till the end of this episode, we do appreciate you. If you're listening on a streaming platform, following and rating our podcast really helps us out. Otherwise, if you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. We'd like to hear more about. I'm running out of questions, so if you have questions, please put them in the comments. I want to ask from people who are watching. I want to ask that to our guests.